I know Aaron Rodgers has been in the news a ton. I'm sure at this point you're sick of talking about Aaron Rodgers and you want a decision one way or another. Well, I do want to bring a new element to the conversation. Because I do think Aaron Rodgers is leaving. I think Aaron Rodgers is asking for a trade and will be traded from the Packers this offseason. Forget everything that we kind of have seen, have read, have heard over this last year. There's two things just from this past week alone that convinced me Aaron Rodgers is a goner. The two things that were revealed is this. Number one, the Aaron Rodgers-Brian Gutekunst relationship is not as strong as we thought. And Aaron Rodgers is trying to demand the Packers to do something they have never done, at least in my lifetime. And I think both of these newfound results, we'll say, are going to lead to him getting traded. Let's start with the first part with the relationship between the GM and the quarterback. Because we have heard a lot from these two gentlemen right over this last year. And the recent things we have heard in previous weeks and months is that the relationship between the two is starting to thaw. They are starting to respect each other. They are starting to now kind of, grow finally and really respect each other's company and what each other is saying. But then you see what's going on this week alone, and guess what? It serves as a reminder that there is still some contention between Rodgers and the GM. The power struggle is still on, and this week was a reminder that both are trying to get one over on the other. Here's what I mean. So Wednesday, Brian Gutekunst met with the media, and he said something to me that kind of caught my eye. Passing comment, but when he was speaking with the Green Bay Packers beat reporters, he said that there was no agreement in place where the Packers would agree to trade Aaron Rodgers this offseason. If you go back to last year, when Aaron Rodgers returned to Green Bay in July, they made a few contract alterations, right? The last year of his deal was shaved off, so instead of becoming a free agent in 2023, Aaron Rodgers is now a free agent after the 2022 season. So he's going to the last year of his current deal. And there was also a report out there from Jay Glazer that both Rodgers and Gutekunst agreed that they would play out the 2021 season and then reassess where each are. And if Rodgers thought that he wanted or thought that he'd be better off somewhere else and asked for a trade, the Packers would oblige. That was the report. That's what we were told. That's what we thought for basically the good part of the last 8 months. And now on Wednesday, in a passing comment, if you will, Brian Gutekunst basically tells you, it's not the case. Not the case. There's no guarantee. There's no gentleman's agreement that we're going to trade Aaron Rodgers if he asks. And for me, that's a reminder. That is a public reminder from the GM to the quarterback that while everyone is waiting on your decision, Aaron, while seemingly the cards are in your hand, and in reality, we still control your future. We still, as the Green Bay Packers, have the leverage here. Because you can ask for a trade, doesn't mean we'll grant it. And it doesn't mean we'll grant it to the team you want. Aaron Rodgers does not have a no trade clause. So the Packers wanted to trade him to the Jaguars tomorrow? They could. They absolutely could. So that, to me, sent a reminder, kind of sent a message to Aaron Rodgers that, hey, take your time, make your decision. But just remember, just if you are thinking about a trade, does not guarantee that we are going to trade you. We still hold the leverage, and we'll trade you if we think it's in our best interest to trade you, not because you want one. So let me ask you this. We've seen a lot of Aaron Rodgers in the media. We've gotten to kind of know how his personality has been. Do you think Aaron Rodgers would hear that comment and let it go by? Do you think he would sit there without really responding to it and kind of let the GM in a public power struggle that this has been basically the last year? Think you let that just comment go without saying anything? Absolutely not. In classic Aaron Rodgers fashion, he responded. But he's not going to respond himself. He's not going to put himself on the spotlight and make himself kind of out to be a bad guy. He's smart. He's calculated. So the next day, Thursday, right? Brian Gutekunst says this comment where there's no guarantee we'll trade Aaron Rodgers on Wednesday. What happens? Thursday, very next day, Diana Russine of ESPN reports what? That Aaron Rodgers is looking to get paid $50 million a season. That is the money he's looking for in a brand new deal. She reported that he wants to be the highest paid player in the NFL by a wide margin. And multiple teams have already lined up their trade offers if he decides he wants to trade. So just like everyone lining up on Black Friday outside of Target or Walmart, those trade offers, those teams have already lined up outside the door, trade offers on the table, waiting for basically Aaron Rodgers to say the words, "I want out." Think that report's a coincidence? Do you think the timing of that report is just an accident? Just happenstance? Wednesday, Packers say we're not trading you. Thursday, Rodgers goes, well, I want to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Oh, yeah, by the way, if that's not the case, I got plenty of suitors lined up to where if you don't want to pay me, someone else will. It's not an accident. That's Aaron Rodgers showing you that he is still, has contentious feelings, and this relationship between Aaron Rodgers and Brian Gutekunst is still tense. These are two alpha dogs trying to make the other break. And I honestly don't think either one will. I think Rodgers is going to stand firm on his side. I think Gutekunst is going to stand firm on his side. I think that's going to lead to a trade eventually to where Rodgers is going to ask out. That's part of the reason why this relationship that we were told by these two gentlemen themselves that was in a better place has showed us right in front of our eyes these last few days that in reality, that relationship is not as rosy as the two wanted to make it out to be. There's still contention there. I think that contention is going to lead to a trade. But also, there's more. There's absolutely more. Because like I said, the other part to this, and the other reason why I do think that Rodgers is going to get a trade, first part, the relationship is not great. The second part is he's trying to force the Packers to do something they haven't done, at least in my lifetime. I'm 27 years old, so the last, let's say, almost 3 decades. What is that one thing you ask? Go all in. Aaron Rodgers is trying to force the Packers to go all in on these next 2 or 3 years when the Packers throughout their history have refused to go all in. Like, what is the hallmark of the Packers? They have been consistent in one thing. They have always had one eye on the present and one eye on the future. Right? They rarely shell out free agent contracts. They are rarely the team that spends big time in free agency. They rarely give up large sums of draft capital to go trade for a player or trade up in the draft to get a player. They are always, for the most part, managing their money smartly, managing their draft picks to where they are never, the cupboard, we'll say, is never barren in either one of those two areas. So to their success, they have always been consistently winning, right? The Packers have always been one of those organizations that have, constantly winning 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games a season. They're always in the playoffs. They're always in the mix. They are never a team that has a top 5 draft pick or just falls off the map by, November. They have consistently won for the last part of, let's say, 3 decades. A big reason for that is because, again, they have always been measured and careful in making decisions. Never giving out big contracts, never getting stuck with bad contracts, never getting stuck with little draft capital or little free agent, cap room to sign players that they need. But on the flip side, though, that never going all in, that never putting all your chips at the center of the table for a season or two is also the biggest reason why the Packers have not gotten to a second Super Bowl since 2010. They have not gotten to the big game since Aaron Rodgers won his first one over a decade ago. It's the biggest reason why the Packers, for having Hall of Fame quarterbacks under center now for 30 consecutive seasons, whether it's Rodgers or Favre, have just 2 Lombardi trophies to show for it. Have just 3 Super Bowl appearances in 30 years with a Hall of Fame quarterback. That's the other side of not going all in. When you play too conservatively, you end up falling short a lot of the times. You can win consistently and get to the playoffs a lot, but other teams have always found different ways to beat the Packers. So the Packers are never going to be one of those teams like the Rams. Give up a ton of draft capital, max out the cap space, and go all in to do whatever it takes to win the Super Bowl in a 2 or 3 year window like the Rams just did and the Rams succeeded in doing. The Packers will never do what the Patriots have done in recent years and going all in to win Super Bowls. Bill Belichick last year, when 2020 was a down year for the Patriots, as we know, he was asked throughout, during the year, basically, what's going on? Why the drop off? And he said, this is the price for going all in the last few years. 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, the Patriots maximized the short-term success and did everything they can, draft capital, free agency-wise, to make as many Super Bowls and win as many as they possibly could in that short time. Now, I'd say it's a success, right? A massive success. 2016, they win the Super Bowl. 2017, they get there. 2018, they win the Super Bowl. 3 Super Bowl appearances in 4 years, 2 victories in 4 years. Pretty damn good. But you saw 2020, the Patriots, for their standards, going 7-9, really fall off a cliff, in part because Bill Belichick kind of showed you when you go all in, eventually you're going to have to pay the piper. And that got to the point last year, the Patriots had so little cap room that they had no choice basically but to sign Cam Newton off the scrap heap to be their starting quarterback last year. When guys opted out, they didn't have many available avenues and options to replace those guys with better players. The Patriots had a reset in 2020, and that was from when they went all in years previous. The Packers are deathly afraid of having that down season. They never want to incur now what will be a 5-12, 4-13 kind of season. They prefer consistent success. And Aaron Rodgers is now trying to force the Packers to go all in. He wants them to put all the chips in the middle of the table for the next 2 or 3 years. Asking for $50 million a season when the team is already in a difficult cap situation puts a major strain on the team. The Packers have by far one of the worst cap situations in the NFL. They have the second worst cap space situation only behind the Saints. Even this week, when they have restructured deals and they have, opened up salary spots, they are still $37 million over the cap. $37 million they have to somehow eat away at just to be cap compliant before you even add on an Aaron Rodgers extension. So if you want to add a $50 million Aaron Rodgers extension or contract onto the books, you're going to have a lot of other cuts to make. And I know you can manipulate the salary cap. I get it. You can manipulate contracts. But the Packers are still in deep doo-doo when it comes to trying to fit everything under one roof and keep all their good players and also make Aaron Rodgers the highest paid player in the NFL. Rodgers is trying to force their hand by saying, give me all the money and let's go all in next 2 or 3 years to win a title. But not only, by the way, because Rodgers won $50 million. Part of going all in is also ensuring his number one target, a guy Rodgers called the best player he's ever played with, it's ensuring that guy's on the roster. Because Davante Adams is a free agent. And I promise you, Rodgers is not coming back to Green Bay if Davante Adams is not there. And in order for Davante Adams to be there, in order for Davante Adams to be happy, he wants to be the highest paid receiver in the NFL. They can franchise tag him. Adams doesn't want the franchise tag. Brian Gutekunst said this week he does not want to give Adams a franchise tag either. You want Davante Adams to be happy? You got to make him the top wide receiver in terms of salary in the NFL. That bar right now is DeAndre Hopkins, $27.3 million. So if you're the Packers, a team that has never gone all in at any point in the last 30 years, when you have a Hall of Fame quarterback under center, are you really now going to pay the 2 best players on your team that combined basically, roughly, $80 million next season? Especially when you got to, jump through a ton of different hoops just to be able to get under the salary cap without counting the Davante Adams extension, without counting a possible Aaron Rodgers extension. I don't see the Packers going all in. I don't see them all of a sudden now, after 30 years of thinking one way, saying, you know what? we're going to pivot. We're going to do something different. We're going to go a different route and kind of go down the less beaten path than we have in any of the previous 3 decades. So I don't think the Packers are going to go all in. And I think, again, that's another reason why Aaron Rodgers is leaving. Like what we've seen this week, the cat and mouse game between Rodgers and the organization, Rodgers and the GM, I think is showing us right in front of our eyes, this guy is leaving. Whether it's the salary demands, whether it's kind of trying to still have the upper hand over the GM, putting out that salary number by saying there's tons of teams lined up and interested in making a trade, whether it's trying to go all in on getting himself a payday and getting his best receiver a payday. I think it all is on the writing's on the wall that Aaron Rodgers is leaving Green Bay this offseason. Now it's only a matter of him saying it. It's only a matter of waiting for a decision to be made. So I'm curious your thoughts here. I think he's leaving. I think he's leaving because the relationship he claims has been good between him and the GM is truly not as good as it's made out to be. And he wants the Packers to go all in for the first time in his career. They have never done so in 30 years. I don't think they're starting now.